Yes, you can count on long rest, and also we're live on the stream. So hello everyone,
Oh,
um, welcome aboard to the next episode of Tales of Edeah. Unfortunately, Carlos can't join us today. Please send him some well wishes. There may be some COVID, so please send him all your best. But hopefully, it is nothing serious. Now, today we are here for the big event, which is something that has cost me a dear amount of time and effort to prepare, which is the Equinical, which will be very interesting to dive into. But before we start, I just want to ask everyone, how you guys doing? We've been sitting here for almost half an hour, and I didn't ask yet, so how is everyone? You guys doing okay this week?
you're the worst.
I know, I'm a horrible dungeon master. I'm only asking now because we're on stream.
Yeah, yeah. I'm doing great. Um, I do have a COVID scare myself, so we'll see how that pans out.
Oh,
But it's only a hundredth in the line of so I'm still doing okay.
okay, good, good.
Yeah.
I'm doing splendid. I
Splendid.
had lunch this time earlier, so I'm not hungry. No snacks during the stream.
Nice.
Probably for the first time in a while.
I mean, that's okay.
Didn't
If you
you
want to snack, you can snack, you know.
didn't you go and grab something sweet just like a minute ago?
Yeah, and I finished it. See? Ah.
Was that your lunch? Is that what we count as
No,
lunch
no, no, no,
nowadays?
no, 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 no. That was just dessert.
All right. Well then, I think there's little between us and actually getting started, except for me to fix the music that I want to keep playing. There we go. All right. So if you guys are ready, then let's begin. Episode 7. All roads lead to here. Postizia, March 14th, year 51 of the new era. A blanket of cold, white frost and snow lies across the Republic. Yet, business goes on. Nowhere is this more true than in its capital city, Postizia. Even in the early morning, windmakers employed by various logistics companies are busy breaking the ice in the bay, thin flashes of fiery light strategically destroying the ice that has formed overnight. On the docks, men in thick coats made of exotic animal skins have already begun loading up ships, and a distant sun begins to peek over the cliffs that protect its bay, trying to cast a warming light over a stirring city, but managing only to illuminate a cold kind of misery. In the meantime, several barges filled with goods make their way up the river that crawls through the city, their way already made and kept ice-free by the ferry services that operate day and night. These carry the last supplies towards the Solidariat, a building whose towering visage looms over the city's central first district, like a many-headed giant seated upon a throne. Inside those many halls of the Solidariat, the business of government proceeds without interruption, even in this early morning, and even as workmen, servants, and officials rush past meeting halls to polish the soon-to-be public areas of the Solidariat into perfection. Tonight is the Equinical, a bi-yearly set of festivities, based in the belief that, in this case, the end of winter should be celebrated. But it is much, much more than that. The Equinical is a sign of the Republic's unity, and a time when everyone, no matter which side of the political aisle they sit on, comes together to welcome the warmer season. It is also a time for the various factions to mingle and maneuver. The workings of politics never cease within the halls of the Solidariat, and tonight is no different. The Equinical presents a rare opportunity for everyone to come together and talk. New alliances may be struck, old enmities reignited, and opponents pressed or threatened at will. This is the arena that awaits the Ashenhearts tonight. A quagmire of growing ambition, endless greed, and a sprinkling of hopeful optimism and altruism that tries to guide the wheels of power in the right direction. We now find the Ashenhearts reconvening one more time before the big event, having concluded their business over the previous 2 days, either individually or together. That business was the following. So we'll begin with Jean-Jacques. Jean-Jacques, ever focused on his mission, kept on target with a relentlessness that some might call bordering on the obsessive. His mission, to ensure that his family's goals were accomplished. In this case, his family's goals included the elimination from the Empire Peace Committee one Mr. Atticus Hope, a relatively unimportant member of the Assembly, but one who is unquestioningly loyal to the crown-minded faction, which has taken control of the delegation. To that effect, he set out and accomplished two things. Using his underground connections and a little help from perhaps the now not-so-friendly Arby, he managed to procure 3 doses of the poison Lekespore, that is Lekkespore, a strange mixture that is said to loosen tongues and typically used in very small doses to encourage people, especially prisoners, to talk about things that they would rather keep secret, with a very strong side effect, which will cause you to lose all inhibitions. Additionally, Jean-Jacques spent some time observing and following Mr. Hope. The man seemed to lead an altogether uneventful life, but on Tuesday evening, the day before the Equinical, Jean-Jacques did find something interesting. The dull and boring Atticus Hope had a rendezvous in a rather unsavory speakeasy down by the river, in which he was observed meeting with an unidentifiable figure. This speakeasy, dubbed Raya's Tea Emporium, also appeared to be home to a number of red sashes and other criminal elements, partaking in various drugs, and including the exchange of what might have been the new drug on the scene, the fabled Mistrium or Sundrop. The rest of his time, where possible, Jean-Jacques dove into a world of research. Poring over detailed schematics and through books not his own proved to be a difficult task. He has succeeded in compiling a list of notes and general annotations on the books that the group possesses, which will help guide them in future research, but it was Jean-Jacques' general impression that it would take a lot of time and effort to really go through them in detail. One notable piece of information that he was able to garner was that the build quality of these artificial insect-like creatures that had attacked Turnock and Arby was of a much lower quality than even the very meticulous schematics which the Ashenhards had retrieved from a criminal hideout some weeks before. Yet by contrast, the schematics recovered are also infinitely simpler and seem to focus more on the fundamentals of creating these mechanical items rather than on constructing anything complex with them as of yet. Perhaps two different branches in the same kind of research. And finally, today, Wednesday the 14th, Jean-Jacques has received an invitation to attend Lady Sordenbrand's house at 3 p.m. sharp to facilitate the communication with his matriarch and mother, Josephine. Any questions so far, Jean-Jacques?
No, all clear here. Yeah.
All right, excellent.
So far.
Then I very quickly want to say, Ruin Keep, thank you, Simon. I assume for the 3-month sub. I appreciate you. Thank you. Moving on, we'll go to Barnack. First and foremost, Barnack attended a very important matter. A profound and heartfelt thank you note written to Jean-Pierre Chopin, Jean-Jacques' cousin and their patron in the matter of Atticus Hope, for reasons yet unknown. But of course, following the revelations that Barnack has received in recent weeks regarding his father and grandfather, especially those that he got in the ephemeral in-between world of mirrors, Barnack turned his attention, along with Tani, to research. Tracking, in a way perhaps unfamiliar to him, searching for clues in papers and documents rather than in mud and grass. He got some help and dove into the Freelancer archives for much of Tuesday and perhaps even in the early hours on Wednesday. The results were not entirely disappointing, but definitely drier and more boring and less sensational than might have been hoped for. Barnack and Tani have discovered the details of his settlement, which was paid to one Torvin Stoneheart, the next of kin in the matter of a case of collateral damage, which had led to the unfortunate death of the elder Stoneheart. This was done by the Pale Angels, a freelancer group, and specifically by two of its members. I will share the names in chat as well, but their names are Rhys Phylax and Connell Crispina.
Pale Angels, you said.
Yes.
Also known as Dead and Deader.
Yeah.
Realistically.
So I've shared them in the chat. But beyond their names and the fact that their group was called the Pale Angels, details were sorely lacking. The court documents listed show that the Stoneheart family had indeed begun a legal process against the freelancers, demanding an official inquest by the government.
Ooh, Kaiba boy.
Oh my. Demanding an official inquest by the government, but the matter had been settled out of court long before that request was ever granted. The sum was substantial. It appeared that the freelancers had paid the Stoneheart family almost 50,000 guilders. 48,972 to be exact. This payment came in exchange for what appears to have been the agreement that the elder Stoneheart's death was an unfortunate accident. And with the fullest and complete apologies of the overseer at the time, one Overseer Demandek, which I will share in the chat as well. A quick background check in the employment records in the archives show that Demandek is still receiving a freelancer pension and is currently living in the city of Middelburg. The involvement of one Johann Strauss is alluded to only scarcely. He is listed as the attorney of record on behalf of the freelancers, and it seems that this was a case relatively early on in his career. Something that you base on the fact that he is now a prodigious arcanist, an attorney, and one of the foremost members of the Grand Assembly. Most notably of all, what you noticed is what isn't there. The deposition transcripts of all the meetings between the freelancers, the attorneys, and the Stoneheart family. Details about the case, all of it is missing. And looking at other case files and other court files, this definitely does not seem to be standard practice. In fact, towards the end of their search, it is Tani who finds a small note which says, "Documentation expunged at the request of the respondent parties following the deaths of said parties." Asking around, probably with Mr. Silver, he clarifies that this means that the people who were listed as respondents, aka the Pale Angels, have died, and thus their involvement has been erased. Or at least the details of this case have been erased. Something that happens rarely, but typically in the pursuit of preserving someone's good name. So that's what you found. Any questions, Barnack?
Can I rename Demandek into Demanded? Because he will be that.
Okay. You may.
Perfect.
It won't change reality, but
It
you
won't.
may.
Yeah, it won't change his name, but
Oh,
it'll change.
Barnack will change reality eventually.
Okay.
Okay.
So, then we'll move on to Turnok. Turnok, presented at last with the space and time to spend some time on yourself, Turnok turned at last to matters which had begged for his attention, but simply could not take precedence over the Ashenheart's pursuits. A quiet and introspective few hours later, Turnok emerged from one of the city's smaller chapels, which is directly attached to a cemetery, with perhaps, maybe, a new spring in his step. He has completed the ritual of Kalon Dan Glow, the ritual of the locked heart, and he was once again united with the presence of his lifelong companion and brother-in-arms. The mysterious ritual had raised eyebrows even in the chapel, from the sole attendant who served the Night Mother, but invited no questions. Nevertheless, the most important thing was that it gave Turnok options again. He could now again seek the wisdom of someone who had come before him, although that would still have to wait until he could rest and dream again. The rest of his day he spent investigating on behalf of a young man who he had met in a brothel, Clement Blake, a half-elf whose brother had gone missing recently. But unfortunately there was little to discover. Clement was still sitting gloomily in the corner of that little brothel and refused to work, earning both the pity and ire of his co-workers. Going to the nearby police precinct, the Black Hats had finally come by and looked into the matter, but following a brief investigation claimed that there was no evidence of foul play, and that the brother, Paul, had simply run off. An inquiry into the matter at the nearby Black Hat precinct cleared up little as well. The police proved very uncooperative, and they demanded eventually that Turnock leave the premises. Yet in spite of the impression that they had barely tried anything at all, there was no room for Turnock to push them further, not alone in any case, and no time to start a fully fledged investigation of his own, leaving the matter of Paul Blake unfinished. Any questions, Turnock? No? Okay. Tani. Having already come to the conclusion that she was ready to learn more about her past, Tani took perhaps the time she needed to simply find a little distraction from the danger and possibly, maybe, the anxiety that could have been building up over the past week. She joined Barnack in the archives and helped him search through and read through many long and different boring documents. But in between the monotony, there did come one piece of, if not good, then at least interesting news. Finn sent word to Tani that Miss Ilo Gold, the strange and helpful gnome, will be in town again by the start of next week. He has also asked that Tani round up the others and bring the whole group over to the Stormcrow Tavern on Wednesday, perhaps around noon, if she's willing. From his note, Tani could gather that he has something that he wants to talk to the Ashenhearts about, but he gives no clue as to what it is. So, my question is, first, Tani, any questions or things that you would want to add about the time spent?
No, I'll accompany Barnack as he discovers this, and Wednesday noon at Tavern's Finn. I'll tuck the letter and I'll bring it up later.
All right. So then we come to the group reuniting. So does the group indeed gather up at the Stormcrow Tavern, or do you just want to go straight to Phoenix because today's too important?
I would, when we get reunited, I would bring it up.
Okay.
And just ask if they would want to. It sounds like he has something to say. Maybe something about the Equinical or the Red Sashes.
But I believe that if we did have some time to kill, we would have spent it in the tavern, right? There's no reason to just sit at Phoenix, I believe.
Sure.
And when's my appointment with Elena? Is it
3
later in the afternoon? 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
So, with everyone aligned, we now join the Ashenhearts in the final hours before the Equinical. Cor joins late, and he joins the party quietly, without saying a word, having been off on his own since they parted ways late in the afternoon on Monday. His expression is thoughtful and pensive, but he does not share his thoughts for the time being, perhaps preoccupied by whatever he did or learned while he was away. In due time, as you know him, he may choose to share whatever is weighing on him. Until then, you are resigned to accept it for what it is, some of you perhaps swallowing some discomfort following Cor's recent revelation about once having had dealings with the Scarlet Rose, and yet not wishing to mistrust him either. In any case, that is how you all find yourselves back at the Stormcrow Tavern, the fine, lovely, warm afternoon, a welcome reprieve from the cold through which you've travelled frequently in the past days, as Finn is currently serving the lunch hour, but when he sees all of you, he waves you over, and you see that there's actually a table that he's kept free for all of you. And he waves you over, and he gestures for you to sit down, and he takes your drink orders, food orders if you wish for anything. Seemingly free of charge. He's not asking for any coin at the moment, maybe too preoccupied to bother in the first place. And it seems that he'll be with you shortly. But you do have a brief respite. Is there anything you guys want to talk about amongst yourselves, or shall we go ahead and bring Finn back?
Well, do we get a moment where we could have discussed our game plan for the evening, or can that come before the when is the Quenical, like in the
It says
afternoon?
it's
late evening?
it begins at sundown today, which will be at roughly 6:30. So you are
6:30.
expected about an hour before that at Lord Phoenix, so that you can escort them to the Equinical.
Yeah, that's 5, and I'm going at 3 to analyze that.
So you have until
So-
5:30 to get things in order and get yourselves organized.
We haven't, right, decided anything on how we're going to approach the game.
Not yet, but this could be that time, right? You have a brief chat with Finn, but if you get into it now, go ahead.
Well, I guess it's a good opportunity to do it anyway. So I'll speak up as Finn walks away, and I'll be like, before we speak to Finn and before we move into the rest of the day, I do believe it will be prudent of us to discuss how we're going to approach this evening. Have some ideas about how to achieve some of our objectives, but we have many, not all of which can be achieved in the exact same way. But I've been thinking about... Go ahead, Turnock.
No, I was just asked, what did you have in mind?
Well, I for example, I'm sorry, got some ale stuck in my throat. I do believe that my skill set would be best used to address the situation that my cousin was interested in, as well as the one that Elena was interested in. However, for the second one, I do believe that it would be best if I had some help in terms of, well, just backup if things go sideways. So I've already procured some materials that should help us disparage the good name of Atticus Hope. And I'm hoping that RB can help me with that. And I kind of give him a look that's not as friendly, but he knows that look. It's like, Jean-Jacques up to no good. We've done this type of thing before. Look.
Sure.
Yeah.
He just nods, a little grumpy. He's definitely keeping his distance from the group as well. You know, he's kind of just standing a little behind Jean-Jacques and pretending he doesn't quite know everyone else.
Then
Need
for...
to- yeah, I was just going to say that I might not be able to join you for that specifically.
Yeah.
As I need to keep an eye out for Mr. Falkenhaus.
I assumed as much. Yeah.
Yeah.
I assumed as much. And then for the ones for Lady Elena, I will try and hopefully manage to make myself and one other person unseen for 1 hour, which should be enough time to at least check part of the offices and rooms that we need to go through. And I can do this a few times. So even if I would need to do it for a protracted period of time, I can do so. And I would like probably Tani or Barnack to accompany me for this. I think perhaps Tani might be a little bit better suited, purely from, well, you can knock somebody out without spilling blood and, you know, making a ruckus. If things were to go completely ass up.
Just I don't. There's no way I could take any sort of action on whatever happenings that take place regarding the. And I just kind of look over my shoulder just to see if nobody's looking and paying attention to our conversation, and lower the tone of my voice. Of the old crown. But I need to, well, prospect where is it going next, at least, unless Master Chaos decides to do something crazy. But other than that, I'll just, if I already have the information that I'm looking for, I may be able to divert from my initial mission and assist you guys on that as well.
Yeah. Well, I think you could also, purely by nature of your own assignment that you've chosen, assist with Lord Fenix's situation. He has noted a few people that we should investigate, or at least, talk to see where they're coming from. And that might be conducive to what you're doing, because it will be easier for you to blend in and keep an eye out on somebody if you're actually participating in the festivities. You would just, I guess, carefully choose whom you talk to.
Okay. What would you have me do?
Not get arrested, if at all possible. But no, I think that it's going to be interesting, right? Because we have to, like, if you were to go with me, for example, then the two of us could be very, very sneaky, darn near impossible to see or hear, which is a benefit. But we first have to find ourselves in a secluded spot where nobody would be able to see us. Otherwise, I think we should all spend at least a portion of time being there, being seen, and talking to the people that have to do with Lord Fennec, for example. But I do believe that Kor, Turnok are probably a little bit, better suited for that particular assignment.
And I just look at him like,
I kind of give Turnok a look and then point to the other two like, yes.
okay.
Somehow.
Okay.
But other than that, I mean, there are perhaps people attending the party that would be more open to speaking to you, Barnack, than myself or some of the others, Dwarvenkin, and especially, I don't know about those from Holgrim, because you've made a mess of that one.
Me?
Well, I mean, you did impersonate an Imperial ambassador from Holgrim, so...
I mean, I didn't. Your brother did. Think that I
He's
was
not
that.
my brother.
Sorry.
He's far beneath that stage.
Yeah. Your cousin thought
Well,
that.
Yeah, he did assume that he
He
was
did assume it.
That was
And I just
racist.
didn't say no.
By you didn't say no, you mean you heavily reinforced the idea, even by following up?
Yes.
And, yeah, okay. That tracks.
How do I get out of that one, though? That was fun at the time, but I don't want to actually be kicked out from the Equinical just because I impersonated someone.
Well, I mean, there is always the option of making my cousin look like the absolute fool that he is by saying, "Good sir, I never said such a thing. I don't know where you got that impression." But that comes with some risks involved, like making my cousin your enemy, which, probably wouldn't be the best.
I know. I'll just get a bit drunk, and then we'll leave the rest to nature.
Oh, no.
No, when I'm drunk, I'm
Barnack.
actually much better in these social situations. As long as no one just says anything bad about sailors, we are good.
Barnack, you're only better at these situations drunk. In your head. Okay?
No,
yeah.
I once stopped a bar fight when I was drunk.
Did you begin it?
Yes, but I stopped it.
Okay. Well, I mean, other
There's
than
also-
that,
There's also a person I would really like to meet. Did you see the full list of the list that we got?
Lord Fennec, yeah.
Yeah. Did you look over it? There's a person called Wit Quickly. Do you think that he has a quick wit like me?
I think many people have a quick wit like you.
I'd really like to meet that person, just to ask him to have a wit competition with me. Although I don't understand, he might be something important. He's like a part of Republican Reform Commission, and he's a coalitionist. So that's
You do know that every single person on this list that you've been given is someone of at least some importance
oh yeah,
within the larger political machine.
yeah.
Just to note.
Come on, having a name, wit quickly.
It is a
You
cool
can't
name.
tell me. You can't tell me you're not interested, guys.
No, I'm definitely interested in name. No,
But
doubt
okay,
As we
about
were
what-
that.
looking at
what
the,
I'll
the
do,
guest
I'll-
list, and
Okay,
I'm guessing
so-
that we are all kind of, bent over the guest list like that.
Sure.
I'm just looking for ourselves, trying to understand, like, how did they classified us? Like, what's our category?
Oh, you're
because
not
I
on
mean-
it because this isn't even the complete guest list, but rather an extract of all of the people that Lord Fennec found interesting remotely, and you can still see that there are certain annotations. You just haven't had time yet because Lord Fennec was still recovering from the blow to his head to actually speak with him. But that's probably a thing you should consider doing before going to the Equinical to get his input on, okay, what are the actual priorities here? Because you know as well as anyone that like actually investigating 75 people would not be feasible in an evening.
Yeah.
So you'll still need some direction.
I have another question. What about, remember Jean-Jacques? We had little platinum coins with Lord Bodan's head on them. Should we ask him about it?
Lord Bodan?
I mean, who else?
Do you know who he is, Bernac? Like, do you understand?
Yeah, but we are invited. I mean, we can talk to anyone, I hope.
Yeah, better from the straight source.
Yeah.
Jinjak's just shocked. He's like,
Core looks
don't
equally
just-
confused why it's not possible.
you don't just approach effectively one of the heads of state and ask them why their image appears on coins found in the possession of devilish agents working against the Republic. Like, you just can't do that type. Like, do you understand what the stadtholder means?
But we'll say we found the coin somewhere else.
But it is beside the point. You
We
could
can tell him-
disappear at the blink of an eye because you wished it. Like your entire
Oh.
family could just be gone because he wished it.
Oh, you mean he's
Like
very...
the most powerful person in the Republic.
I see.
Like, maybe not in terms of like
Okay. I will
tradition,
not.
but
I will not personally approach Lord Bodan.
good. I mean, if you want to approach it, that's fine. Just approach him to like say, "What a wonderful person you are, Your Grace," or something. Like, just don't. Yeah, it will be a very ill-advised move politically and.
And
just-
if I want to keep living, okay.
Yeah.
I understand. Yeah, I understand. So if I don't like any, okay, if I don't like anyone there, we can send them.
Yeah. I mean, he's the scum of this earth and needs to be removed from it, but also super powerful.
So he is the enemy.
Oh
That's
yeah,
what you're saying.
for sure. Yeah,
I think
and
that
he's
the
my
most
enemy. I don't know about you, but I would say so.
Okay, good to know.
The most important thing for us to remember here is just whatever happens, try not accomplish your goals to the top of your capabilities without getting us arrested or starting a brawl in the middle of the economy.
No,
That's
no,
the
no,
most-
no brawls. I promise this. I bought really nice clothes. I will not sully them with blood. I do promise that. At least I will not start a brawl.
I cannot ask you to not get in trouble. I don't think that's possible, but
You know me.
limit it to the best of your capabilities. The amount of
boy.
trouble you're gonna cause everybody.
Okay. So what is my goal? Am I to guard Lord Fennec, Lord Storm, or am I to? I would like to also go and find Mr. Strauss, but that might also lead me
If I
nowhere.
may, just to provide some context, but from what Lord Fennec has told you so far, and the nature of these events, they're very well guarded, right? Your primary concern will probably be getting your own stuff in, and finding a way past all the security. So there's not necessarily a need to be at their side. It's not likely that somebody at the event will actually assault Lord Fennec, because it would be beyond belief for that to happen. So Lord Fennec is definitely not expecting you to, sit by his side like a puppy dog.
Yeah, I mean, I think your objective should be to investigate. All of ours should be. And I think we can't go in saying only or Turnog do the talking, because that way we're just limiting ourselves too much. It's just more about thinking where and with whom you should apply yourself in terms of trying to find out, right? Like, it doesn't make sense for you to go and talk to somebody like my cousin, who's the epitome of all of that is, wrong with high society. You should instead go talk to people who are a little bit more grounded, like that, realness that Barnack Stoneheart brings to the table.
Okay.
Also, who probably drink a lot, because
Yeah, that's I was thinking that. Yeah, I'll find just people who drink a lot. We'll
Yeah,
share
and
our
the
love
most
of drinks.
important concept for you all to grasp: doing more than one thing at a time. We are keeping an eye at Lord Phoenix. We are keeping an eye at Elena. We are keeping an eye at everybody. We are there
And
at work.
very good, very good
Core
point.
goes, but I only have 2 eyes.
Remember, Tarnok? We also might actually meet, even though we don't know, but meet the Rose. That is a huge possibility. So we need to be quiet. Well, we need to be wary of what we're saying.
Yeah. Most likely
keep
his
an
pedals
eye.
will be there too, right?
Yeah, and keeping an eye on whoever's keeping an eye on us. That's also super important.
Core, would the petals actually be here on or something? Well, at a happening like this one, or
Let's have a
wouldn't
look
the
at
petals
What
be
Core's
more
understanding
of a?
is.
Yeah, I'll be back in a second. I'm not doing that, okay? Today,
Yeah, sure.
Just go to the bathroom.
Core shakes his head and says, I don't know. But I don't think so, because
Yeah.
What's-His-Face told us that they were pretty
Brutes.
renowned criminals.
Yeah.
Argyle.
Not the type to show up in
I would doubt it as well.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
But I am thinking, after our conversation last night, it might be entirely possible that the Rose does end up at the Equinical.
Yeah.
Because the more I think about it and the more I hear and see what they're capable of, I have a nagging suspicion that the Rose and whoever we thought of the proprietor, the person amongst the nobility and high society that is kind of guiding their hand, might be the same person. I think that the petals are the criminal element that get down into the gutter with everybody, but that the Rose might actually be one of the people at the party, like a member of high society.
If we can get someone in like a bathroom alone, if we could get everyone into the bathroom alone, but one at a time, and you could ask them, well, you could suggest that they tell you the truth if they're the Rose or not.
I think that would be decidedly unreasonable for them to come,
Well, we'll just
confirm.
narrow the list down to like
Yeah.
20 people or so.
Yeah, we can tell if they're lying, right? If they look nervous, if they look to the side,
What?
they could be
Yeah.
lying.
One important question. While we're there, Tarnok, you said no problems. We shouldn't make any problems, and I promise I will try not to make any problems. But if we get insulted My
You
fuse
swallow
isn't.
it, you
Okay.
swallow your pride, and you get insulted, and you earn that insult like a gentleman that you are.
Yeah, no, I will. But my question was, can I insult them back?
That depends.
No
For an
physical
act-
play.
Yeah, but you do get insulted quite easily, even if people are not trying to say anything bad towards you. And this is not quite the environment where people, and I say that meaning no offense at all, there's not many people like you in this sort of events. In your own essence, you're pretty different than the people who are there right now. So they are going to say things to you that
Yeah.
are going to be extremely offensive.
Yeah.
That's what they do. And they may mean harm towards you, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because these people think they can do whatever they want. So
Yeah, I'll just
you
insult
would
them back if
kindly
I can.
accept that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll drink enough not to
How-
get.
How offensive do you think Jean-Pierre and I were towards one another when we were at dinner?
I don't know. You didn't actually say any offensive stuff. Like you didn't
you're
call each
fine.
other idiots.
Yeah, we did, but in
What?
the way
No,
that,
you were
Yeah.
very loving to each other.
yeah, sure, we were,
Very
but
polite, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, it's just the way that people insult each other among our.
not
Okay,
really
so I
so.
might even not know that they're insulting you.
Yeah, I'm
That's
thinking
actually
you
good.
might miss it. Yeah,
That's actually good because if I don't know, I don't need to react.
exactly.
Just a brief, explanation regarding that. Jean-Jacques' cousin, the first thing he said when he looked at me was associating me and my kind to an event that almost ended the war. That was the first thing he mentioned when he saw me.
Lovable person.
So, yes,
Darn it.
and this
Darn
is going to happen a lot, I'm pretty sure, at the event. So, I'm just guessing, don't take anything personally. Like, they are going to associate you with your kind, they are going to associate you with your race, they are going to associate you with the way that you speak, they are going to judge you the entire time. And you should,
Accept it.
yes, exactly.
I'll try. Turnok, I've come to rely on your mind as your sword, so I will try.
Thank you.
It's
That's-
a try.
Actually, very sweet.
But one last question from me to all of you. What if shit goes sideways? What if everything goes to shit?
We will not be armed, right?
I would like to be armed.
I don't know how does that in the Aquina Code, do people get
Well,
the privilege to carry their weapons?
We
Is
need
Some
to find
people
our
do.
own way.
Some people do, but we won't be getting it
Mm.
because we don't. Well, there's multiple reasons why that's problematic. Firstly, we're carrying contraband armor and weapons,
Exactly.
which we need to register with the state. So even if we were allowed to bring our weapons upon inspection, we would at least be fined, if not worse. And then secondly, there is no reason for us to get the approval for the carrying of weapons.
So
That
the
being
other
said,
shit won't go sideways. We have plan
Yes.
A and plan A.
yes, kind of. But that being said, and just we talked to Elena about registering our equipment.
Yes,
but
she'll
not
fast
about
track
bringing
you.
it into-
No, not bringing it in. That was going to be one of my questions at this point. Is there anything that you want to try? Any plans that you have to bring them in? Because yeah, you are completely correct that you'll be asked for permits and inspected and everything. So,
I
do
have
you
an
any
idea.
plans?
We do have a haversack.
which is magical in and of itself,
Yeah.
and would be inspected, and is not an item that those persons would be familiar with.
Yeah, they know how a haversack looks like.
Okay, but no, it's fine. But we can have something that doesn't look like a weapon there. For example, something that can help you do your magic, Jean-Jacques.
Right, but just the haversack is like a huge ass rucksack, right?
It's a
Kevin?
pretty big one. It wouldn't be impossible to take inside. It's just that you would have to reveal everything inside.
Yeah. Yeah.
It would effectively be turned inside out to reveal everything.
Yeah. I am going to go and speak with Lady Edeah in a few hours on another matter, and I can inquire with her if she would be able to assist us with bringing in the haversack inside. There was another thought that I had a while back of trying to get one of the servants persuaded with my talents.
If I may,
Go ahead.
you do know that one of the people in this group has a master who will be sneaking in as a servant.
Just waiting for an opening for that. Yes. I interject and I say we may be able to contact Master Kale before the event starts. And, well, he could slip it in through the back.
I mean,
I know, I'm a 12-year-old, but come on.
As soon as I said it, I was like, uh-oh.
jingle music plays in the background.
Anyway, please continue.
I mean,
he could help us getting the things inside. He's going to be working as a member of the kitchen staff. So I think that another sack would go unnoticed with him. So that may also help. I can go, if you may, I can go a little bit earlier than usual, ahead of all of you and try to contact him.
why wouldn't we just do it right after this meeting? Isn't he at the brothel still? Or do you think he's
No.
already? Oh, he's probably already
I
there
think
working.
he must be already there, right? Working on
Right.
traps. So I would go straight to there and try to contact him.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, if he's working as the kitchen staff, he'd already be there. If I'm within 100 or so feet, and I know his general location, I could probably call him out, but that would be,
Probably
based
be
on
like
a lot
half
of-
an hour just pointing in different directions at the structure.
Yeah, I can accompany you. We can accompany you to your appointment this afternoon. Of course, I have no interest in taking part in your personal matters. I won't interfere at all. Just as a matter of us to remain together, and then we can go by the event's location and attempt to find him. We might get lucky, but if we're not lucky, we'll need you.
Yeah. Well, I think we can certainly keep nearby, but as far as meeting with Elena, I prefer to do that alone.
No, I have no intentions on actually taking part of the meeting. It's just going
Understand.
with you to the...
Yeah. I just also wanted to say I don't think, me casting my message spell will probably take a while. So that's what I was saying. Like, if we can figure out a way to do it more easily, that would probably be better. Because the
Do
likelihood
I
of
remember
me,
anything, Kevin? Like, do me and Master KO had a way to communicate, and is that something that
Well,
I don't know? But
No, not explicitly, because he told you about his plans to enter, but you guys never actually discussed, needing to work together before the exchange would happen. However, it does make sense, because probably the more you think about it, you also realize that there's a good chance of some kind of confrontation if things go badly.
Yeah.
Because this is definitely, a highly illegal matter happening very close to some important business. So they're probably not going to be unprotected. But as for contacting Master KO, you could just approach and see if people have family that work there all the time, and they go and they meet for lunch, or they need to drop something off or whatever. So it's not like it's completely closed off. It's more that you just need to go through the right channels and maybe have the right story ready, in case somebody asks what you're doing.
Yeah. Sure. I was just wondering, right, if it would be that difficult to actually get to, the employees' entrance, and
I don't think so. Not necessarily.
Yeah. So I won't have back in character with the group. I will go and try to talk to him. However, I won't bring the haversack with me yet. I'll just try to talk to him, see if he's able to help us, and if he is, before the actual event starts, we'll slip the haversack to him and find a way to have access to it inside. Okay?
We should get some things out of the haversack.
Oh yeah.
Just
Well,
in
we need
case.
to put some things into the haversack as well.
Exactly.
Exactly. So just putting it out there. If something goes wrong, let's say with Master KO and him bringing in this sack, we would be effectively leaving our weapons and armor and magical items that are meant to, guide us through a lot in the future somewhere in the palace. I think it's a good idea and that we should do it, but I'm just setting up so that you all understand what is at stake.
Thank you so much for the encouragement words.
Well, I'm not, yeah. I kind of shrug.
You don't need to have a rebuttal for everything, Jack. It's okay.
Okay. Then we can try the haversack and see if that works. If that doesn't work, we'll just we'll do what we always do. Get by.
One more really important thing. Don't get jumpy if one of us gets arrested. Don't.
Oh no.
Don't.
No.
Because you won't be able to stop any of us of actually getting arrested. So accept it if that happens, and the other ones who remain free will deal with that later. But don't get jumpy if you're
Also, please don't get arrested.
Yes.
Yeah, I was about to say, may I get jumpy if I get arrested? Just like
Well,
to. Yeah, I'll go easily. Okay, doesn't matter. What I was going to suggest, though, before we leave the Equinical, Jean-Jacques, perhaps saving one of your message spells and messaging random people there with something that we might want to say to them. Like, for example, to Lord Bodan saying, hey, Crimson Rose says hi. Or things like that, just for a bit of chaos there. I mean, it's a very good idea. Just think about it. Doesn't have to be Lord Bodan, though. I'm just putting it out there. But someone else, if we start suspecting someone, I know that you can do it silently.
I know what you did last summer.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that's because you can do it silently, right?
Well, yeah, I can do those completely without giving away that I'm doing something.
Yeah. Or because you can suggest things for people to do. If you can do that silently as well, if we are 100% sure that we have our culprit, or that we might have found a Crimson Rose even, we can tell them. Yeah, Scarlet Rose. Okay. Wait, no, it's for Barnack. Still Crimson Rose. It's red sashels.
Okay.
Scarlet Rose.
That's fine.
That's red.
Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, but so if we find out who that is, you might be able to suggest that they announce it very loudly.
Right. There are limitations to the magic that I can do. They have to consider the request reasonable. So announcing to the entire Equinical that they are the criminal mastermind that has taken over the city might seem a tad bit unreasonable.
Yeah.
Unless they are not, and they make a joke out of it. For example, like. But I will keep your suggestions in mind. Thank you.
Yeah. The message
let's-
thing though is still very.
Yes, if
You
I
can-
want to
you
creep
can-
somebody out, I can always
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah, you can like mutate your voice and say like,
All right.
Scarlet Rose says hi.
Is there anything else that you guys specifically want to discuss at this point? Any points
Just
that
want to
really
have a
need to be
drink
raised?
after the sudden realization that this
I
is a
just-
suicide mission.
Sure.
Yeah, just one thing.
Okay.
Barnek or Tani, which one of you, two of you wants to go with me on the spy mission of going to the offices and investigating whether we can find evidence of Elena's husband talking to the three individuals? We'll have to go sneaking around the palace, probably unlocking some locked doors, searching for information and things like that. So, which of the two of you would like to do that versus stay at the party?
I like
Well-
sneaking, but
Yeah, I mean, it's up to you. Do you need to be more sneaky?
I'm
or
asking
do
you as
need-
Nicola, to be honest. Like, I just want to know which of two of you, as a player, wants to do it more, because I
I want
think.
to do both. But yeah, if let's see how it goes there, and then
Okay.
once we get there, we'll see if it's too many, let's say, guards, then sneakiness won't really help you.
Okay.
Maybe knocking some out might help more. So
Well, we'll be invisible. That's the point. Like, whoever it is, I'll turn both of us
Oh.
invisible. Because I can do that.
yeah,
But
we'll
Okay.
leave it hanging for now.
But let's say Tani, and then Barnak, depending on how things unfold. So Tani's the.
Okay. I'm the backup
I
plan.
could take both of you as well, but that would be only once, and we'd be
No, no, no.
stuck if we get
No, no, it's fine.
uninvisibled. So
It's fine. It's fine.
All right.
oh, I do want to talk with Finn.
Okay. Do you
before.
want to grab him before he sits down at the table with all of you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, you can definitely do that. You know, you see him kind of wrapping up. Like the lunch rush has sort of come to at least to a slow. People are eating, talking, chatting. There's a very nice, cozy sense to the whole inn. Fire crackling on the hearth. Everyone has good food, good drink. And Finn, like, is just probably cleaning up a little bit before he comes over. He has already got, you see, 6 mugs set ready with ale in it, which he's probably about to carry over to you guys when you walk up to, and he comes over and you guys kind of stand at that little bit of the bar where he can walk through, and he leans in and he goes, yeah? You alright?
Yeah, as much as I can be right now. But your letter, it sounded like you had something to say.
Well, I do. I apologize. I was perhaps a little more urgent. It sounded a bit more urgent than it actually is, but I'm just a little worried about all of you, and I wanted to sit you down and see how you're actually doing. I'm hearing some troubling things, and I've seen some troubling things over the past week here, and well, come on, let's go. And he picks up the tray,
Okay.
and he just actually gestures for you to come along.
I gesture it, like offering to carry the tray and stuff as we walk.
He actually looks offended, you know, as if he's too old for it, and he's just like, no, it's mine. It's my job, not yours. You don't work here anymore. You're not getting my tips. And
It's a
he-
habit. Sorry.
And he goes over and he looks over at Remy and realizes he's forgotten a drink, and he just looks really sadly at his own mug, and then he offers one to Remy and one to everybody else, and he sits alone without a mug at the table. And he looks around a bit, and you can see he becomes a bit apprehensive because, of course, he doesn't have the relationship he has with Tani, with all of you. But he clears his throat, and there's, again, like, this is kind of very easygoing atmosphere in the tavern. You don't have the sense that you're being observed or overheard or anything like that. But he still lowers his voice just a little bit as he addresses all of you. And he begins a little awkwardly. You can tell this is not necessarily his specialty. But you see a concerned, slightly elderly, very bulky dwarf trying to address you. And he starts with, alright, well, thank you for coming here. I'm just happy to see you guys. I hope you're doing okay. But I just wanted to ask, what is going on with you guys? You left so quickly after everything that happened, but I'm worried. I'm hearing things, and things are going down in the city, and buildings burning down, and I have this... I used to know some people, and let's just say anytime anything happened and they were around, it was usually their doing, and I'm getting the same sort of vibe from all of you. So what's going on? Is there, you can trust me, just ask Tani, but tell me as much or as little, but I'm worried about all of you.
What have you
Feel
been
like you're-
hearing? What are
That
people
you're-
saying?
Well, I mean, the fires. You heard the asylum that burnt down, and well, okay, you'll have to forgive me. I haven't had anyone spying on you, but I have asked around a bit about what you were up to. Ashen Hearts, anyone talking about you or whatever, and word has it you're getting caught up in some big business. I don't know what it is, because that's not the kind of sources I have, but there's definitely talk that Ashen Hearts and important stuff are connected. And that's fine. You do you. You know what's good for you, but I'm worried about you. And I know this city a little bit, and I know that there's only trouble out there. So I just wanted to ask, first, if you guys are alright, and second, if I can help with anything.
And big business come to us. It's not like we are actively searching for.
I'll believe that. You, and he kind of looks around the table. You seem like the lot at this point, but nevertheless, even if big business comes to you, doesn't mean you have to embrace it. Don't forget that. You have a choice, alright? You always have a choice. But my offer stands. Is there anything I can help you with? Anything... I know a little bit of Tani's story. I don't know the rest of you that well, but I'd like to. You seem like good folk, and I like helping good folk, so... Is there anything I can help you with? Anything you need? A shoulder to cry on. I've got a big one.
Well,
Turnock remains silent.
Okay. He looks genuinely very worried. Like, you don't even have to roll for it, but like straight up, any insight that you have into this dwarf is like he looks just really worried about, Tani especially, but also the friends of Tani, and kind of what you're dragging her into, maybe the way that he sees it. But he's not disapproving. He's just offering, what he can.
I would say something, but I remembered that you guys told me like don't say every detail, so
Okay.
I'm waiting to see who says something.
Well, is it obvious that Tani's like battling with herself?
Yeah. She's like opening, then looking aside.
Jean-Jacques looks at her and he says, like, Finn's a different kind of story, Tani. I think you can be open, or more open than I suggested previously. So if there's something you want to share with Finn, I would be fine with it.
Well, just the previous days. Well, you you mentioned that building that burned down.
Aye.
There were giant spiders from other.
You see, like,
Faces.
visible recoil in his face, and you get the impression that he has a very similar opinion of spiders as Turnock does. And you see him just kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
how you big?
Well-
Okay, no, I saw
Yeah.
you looking, Jean-Jacques. No, no more details. But it burnt down, right?
Yeah, but we were there
Th-
before.
there were some small ones in eggs as well.
Yeah, I saw one really small, but then
But it's gone. There's no more.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
we killed some eggs.
that's good, right? And then the fire started, I guess, to get rid of all the spiders.
Well, we weren't there doing the fire, but
Hmm.
one of our freelancer missions, we had to rescue someone from there,
Well, that's good.
and
Yeah,
then
the pest control team came in and, well, took care of it. after we'd done our business.
Yeah, and then we
Alright.
went to a lord's estate for the night instead of coming here. Part of her contract, and in the middle of the early morning, well, I heard something, some crunching in the snow, and I opened the door, and they were, and they
Who?
had, and I gestured toward my torso, and
Okay.
You're familiar with them.
Argyle.
One of them specifically, yes.
yeah, one of the dudes that came over here that other day, strutting his stuff.
Right. And how did that turn out?
Not good for him.
And why was he interested in you or your employer? I thought he only did small business.
Well, our employer remains unclear. His boss got an order to kidnap the wife of our employer
Right.
for blackmail, and then us because we were asking around about the big boss.
They knew.
And do you need to find out about this big boss? Like, what's your connection? Why? I mean, I don't begrudge you it, but it's. I've been on the fringes, and it's not been pleasant. I can't imagine diving headfirst into the fray will be any better for all of you.
Kind of look towards the rest, see if they have any intention of speaking up.
I mouth the word apple, and then raise one eyebrow.
As I think that we will end up boring poor Finn with that amount of details. Honestly, Finn is just business and business only. We do have our own struggles here, but I believe we'll be able to figure out. I apologize if I'm being rude here, but
That's fine.
this is classified information to some point.
He smirks and he nods. He looks around the table one more time. He says, "That's your choice, but I'm still here to help. So if you need anything, even if it's just a place to hide after you get up to some mischief," and he looks around, he lets that kind of lie for a moment. My place is open to you guys. But take care of yourself, alright?
Wait, Finn, do you maybe know who the big boss is?
What, the bros? No.
Yeah.
Nope. No, those days for me are behind me. And the only thing I do is make sure that my tavern stays open. And
Okay.
doesn't pay the likes of them.
That's one of the greatest things that you could do for us.
That's what I'm here for. Alright, well, that's all I wanted to do. Quick sanity check. It's good, especially for the likes of you. Jean-Jacques, you had something to say?
I was just wondering how you are doing, friend, because you're worried about us, but a few days ago you were in quite a bit of trouble yourself.
He genuinely kind of almost chuckles to himself. And he goes, I reckon you haven't got quite the perspective on that situation. But trust me, I'm doing just fine. Nothing to worry about.
So I kind of look over his extreme. I would assume what is a powerful build, and that he has this
Yeah.
air around him that he's strong and stuff. And I say, I was not worried about you handling that particular situation so much as what's behind it. But as you trust us, I'll trust you that everything's taken care of.
Would the tavern be all right? It won't be destroyed, right?
Oh no, this place is quite well protected. You've got nothing to worry about. It's just that little Argyle wasn't aware of the situation. And the situation is they leave me alone, I leave them alone. And that's it. As far as I understand, the big boss knows that, even though we haven't spoken personally. But I made sure to make that message clear early on. in any case, yeah, that's pretty much it. As you can see, and he kind of looks around. I've got plenty to do, but if you get into any trouble and you do need some help, I'm an old man, but I've got a few tricks up my sleeve. So just come by, and we'll figure it out. And he stands up. He looks over and he starts kind of collecting the mugs and stuff like that. That you guys have already drunk, and starts to head back to the bar. All right. So, what do you guys want to do next? You've probably got some time to still kill here at the tavern, but you do have the appointment with Elena coming up, and I believe that someone also wanted to go and check on the Solidariat and see if you can connect with KO.
Jean-Jacques, before you leave, do you think it's possible to teach me your spell message? For no reason whatsoever.
No, not today, Barnack.
Okay.
The magic that I wield is not very teachable anyway, but even if I were to attempt, it would take much longer than a couple hours. I'm afraid.
Okay.
All
I
right.
send him a message and say, but maybe one day.
That would be cool.
Yeah, I'll whisper. Okay. Good.
He doesn't even think it back, just whispers it.
Yep.
Such a Barnack move. Okay. Well then, where do you guys go
also
first?
send you something. I'll send you something, Kevin.
Sure.
I would be going to Elena's.
Okay.
So I don't know if the rest will follow along and wait for me outside or whatever.
Yeah, no, I think I'll go alone to Solidarity anyway. I don't think that we'll waste less time. We'll get things done quicker. So I'll
Alright.
want to try to locate Master King.
All right. So Turnok is heading over to the Solidariat, and Jean-Jacques is heading over to Elena Sordenbrand's house. Tani and Barnack, is there anything specific that you guys want to do in this time, or do you just wait for them to come back?
I would like to ask, well, Tani, do you think that we should take out the platinum pieces that we have in our haversack before they come back? Because I don't think we should have that. If they find it, we want that still. That's like an important thing.
Yeah. We don't want to lose that. Sorry.
Yeah, because we have a few things in this haversack that we don't want to lose. Well, we don't want to lose anything, but some of these things are actually pretty valuable.
Yeah. So before I go, Kevin, would my robe of the Archmage would obviously be noticed, right? I can't just wear that as my formal attire. Like it would.
No, it would be noticed due to its heavily magical nature, and then you'd be questioned on, do you have... You would probably be able to wear it inside if it was a legal item, but your current predicament is that it's not technically
I'm
legal.
guessing same for my Bloodwell.
Yeah, that one would be a little more questionable to begin with.
Okay. So I will leave. Oh, God.
You don't have to. You can try other things if you're not comfortable. But
No, it's just I'm looking at my spell on my list of items now, and the Ring of Oberon. I would also probably ping, but I really don't want to take that off.
yeah, but like enchanted rings are probably, they'd probably have to identify it, and that would be one thing. It is technically still illegal, so.
And Jack, you can say that ring is a family heirloom. Not
It would
your
be
family.
registered then.
Yeah, not your
Not my
family,
family.
though. Yeah.
No,
You just found
no.
a family heirloom.
Let me one moment, and I go to my mind space, and I'll be mon ami.
Yes.
I have a curious question. Is there perhaps a way for you to hide yourself?
Do you mean to become less visible than I already am?
Correct. On my finger. Is there a way for you to become unseen or undetectable?
Only if you become undetectable.
I might need to take you off.
You will not put me aside, I hope.
Only temporarily, until I am able to pick you up again. But it is not my intention to put you aside permanently.
Roll persuasion.
Okay.
And while you're doing that, I like just elbow Tanya. Like, he's doing that weird thing again.
15.
Yeah, he's talking to that ring that has a voice but doesn't have a mouth.
I still don't believe that has a voice. I think he's just making a joke like of a century
Okay.
ago.
Jean-Jacques, could you roll a wisdom saving throw?
Yeah. Oh, not great. Not great. This would be a magical effect, I would assume.
It is a charm effect, in fact, so you do have advantage, I believe.
Okay. And I have a bonus of +2. So,
And Cora is
Still
beside
awkward.
you as well.
so 7, 9
+2.
plus 2, 11 plus something from core.
Oh,
which I
that's
think
the
would be
+2 from Core.
Well, a rope of the Archmage gives me.
Oh, okay, so
Another
13
2.
then, because
13
Core has
total.
two charisma.
Yeah.
Okay, you hear his voice, and for a moment you don't understand what he's saying, but then it kind of starts to translate itself, and it seems that he's speaking like ancient Elvish.
Hmm.
And he says, I suggest that if you put me aside, that you make sure to pick me up again before the end of the night. And that's it. But you definitely, you feel this kind of compulsion, and there is an awareness, like you're aware enough to say like there's something kind of driving you to question it. But you can, well, how you want to deal with that is up to you,
Yeah.
of course.
He kind of like gets silent for only but a brief moment and says, "But of course, you are my friend, and I will need you dearly in the days to come." And I'm being honest in case
Okay. Yeah.
there's
You,
an
you get the
attempt.
sense of like somebody nodding along to the conversation, but he doesn't say anything else to you in your mind anymore.
Yeah. So I will take off my robes, probably like, privately and stuff. Take off my robes, my Bloodwell amulet, and the ring, and
Okay.
put them in the haversack.
All right.
Actually,
I'm just holding it like this. Yeah.
Actually, I will do that with the robes and the Bloodwell amulet, but I will give the ring. I will ask Finn. No, I won't. No, I don't know. Fuck.
Finn won't
ask
wear
Finn-
it if you ask. If you
Yeah, I will ask Finn to keep something hidden for me and ask him not to look at it.
Of course, not a problem.
And then I'll put the ring in a
Okay.
pouch or something and
All right.
give it for Finn to put aside.
He weighs it briefly. How valuable? Just generally under counter kind of valuable or safe kind of valuable.
Safe, kind of valuable.
Good. Disappears into the bag
Thank you, Finn.
and deposits it.
Yeah.
All right. So Jean-Jacques' magical items are there, and I presume that in that time you probably dressed as well in your formal attire.
Yes.
Um,
Yes, of course.
All right. All right. So you guys set out from the Stormcrow Tavern.
I am wearing my arcane focus, which is just a crystal.
Yeah.
Which I would imagine is registered because I've had it.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
purchased. Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. Okay, so we'll start with Jean-Jacques. You take probably at this point a carriage with the road still icy. Everything is kind of uncertain, but the more expensive carriages and horse-drawn carriages have had their wheels enchanted and the horses' hooves enchanted to have proper grip. So they can pull you through the city at a price of, let's say, for this ride, it'll be two guilders to get you across. And that gets you into the cross where Elena has her house, or it's more like a small mansion as well. It's still crammed into a street, but it's like one of those very tall New York-like buildings, what are they called, the brownstones? It's a very beautiful home. And when you arrive there and you knock at the door, a servant opens the door, and he looks you over for a moment and he says, "You must be Mr. And he, you see him briefly look at something, maybe a small piece of paper in his hand. Mr. Dupois?
That is correct.
Excellent. Please come in. Lady Soderbrand extends her apologies that she's not able to be here personally, but she has arranged for you to speak with, and he looks again, your mother, I believe. You will be able to make use of our echo chamber. Please feel free to use it for as long as you need, although she does remind you that you are expected in time for the Equinical tonight.
Marvelous. Thank you very much.
Of course. And if you require anything else, you may speak to me, and I will make sure to get it for you if it is within my power. And he leads you into the house, into this kind of narrow corridor where the house is mainly vertical. So you have to climb 2 sets of stairs, and you come to a hallway where several rooms kind of branch off. And at the middle room, you see that it's quite a heavily fortified door, and there awaits a woman, seemingly a half-elf, currently in very formal robes of her own, but not resplendent like yours, just very formal, practical robes of a government official. And she's standing a little impatiently by the door. She looks over, nods at you, doesn't give her name, but as the door is unlocked for you, you find yourself entering a round chamber, which seems a little larger on the inside than it should be. And in the center of the chamber sits a stool in front of a body-high mirror there. And she gestures for you to sit. The servant already leaves outside again, and she begins to enchant a spell. And within about a minute or so, you see a kind of shimmering begin to appear. And it still takes a moment for the image to kind of form. In that time, the half-elf who's been helping you just turns to you and says, "You may speak for as long as you need. Simply notify me when you are done, and I will break the connection." And she leaves through the door as well. And as the mist in the mirror shimmers and forms, you see a unfamiliar chamber, but the visage of your mother sitting there. And perhaps, since it is a character from your background, perhaps you can briefly describe to us how Josephine appears here before Jean-Jacques.
Oh, nice. Well, I imagine she's in her, well, probably late 90s at this point, as a half elf, maybe like early hundreds. So she has like a bit of gray in her hair, and I imagine almost like stark, very very dark black hair with like one plume of white.
Yeah.
Immaculately, like maybe like in a bun or whatever is the fashion at the time. Every hair in its place. Modest makeup just to kind of accentuate the natural beauty that she has. I kind of imagine her as Lady Stark from Game of Thrones.
Okay.
Something like that. So very kind of regal, very stern bearing. Average height, probably dressed in formal wear, even though she's at home, but something that denotes her power and her station. And I imagine her demeanor, even in privacy, is still very stiff, very regal, and kind of like uptight. And also, I'll add, is the chair that I was sitting on as she left, is that like bolted to the ground, or is it like
no, it's quite a nice footstool, essentially. Well,
Gotcha.
Probably closer to an ottoman, actually.
Yeah.
That you can just move around, or even just move out of the way and stand in front of the mirror if you prefer.
Yeah, I will move it out of the way, and I will actually kneel on one knee and with like a hand on the ground and bow my head as she appears in the mirror.
Okay. You see her kind of looking off in the distance, and though the room is unfamiliar to you, knowing your mother, she's probably looking at something, but also striking a pose for good measure. And when she looks over, you just hear the briefest the briefest sound of acknowledgement, and you know that's the time for you to at least look at her properly. and perhaps stand if she looks approvingly enough. Which in this case she does appear to have a not a happy expression, that would be unfamiliar, but definitely a very slight. Well, neutrality is probably already approval on her face.
Yeah. So I will stand up, and Jean-Jacques' bearing is very similarly to her own, very much proper. Stands like almost as like a soldier, but like the honor guard. Very straight, perfect pose, with a slight bit of deference, but still standing tall, as she has been, as she has taught him. And he kind of looks at her, and waits for either a nod or approval, or for her to speak first, because I imagine she would always be the first to speak whenever they interact.
She allows it to linger for a moment. She even takes the time to look at her fingernails, look them through, adjusts a necklace around her neck, and then looks at Jean-Jacques again. Well, Jean-Jacques, to what do I owe this pleasure?
It is good to see you, Mother. I uncovered certain information along my travels recently and wanted to speak to you, to appraise you, because I have not had the time to head back, nor will I soon, I suspect.
Indeed. It has been a long time since I have received a proper update from you, but this can be excused for now. What have you found?
I kind of look around and may I speak completely freely?
She looks over out of frame at something, and she just gives a slight nod, and you hear a door close, and then she looks back to you and she nods as well.
So the first thing that I would like to appraise you of is that the offices of the freelancers in Watchhold are currently being headed or run by an Imperial spy. The overseer known as... what is his name?
Horn.
Horn. Overseer Horn has been confirmed to be an Imperial agent that has infiltrated the freelancers for a number of years now. He is aware that I am aware of his true identity, so we can potentially use that in our favor moving forward.
For what purposes have you left him in his place now? Explain your
I-
thoughts.
Very well. I thought it prudent to know that an enemy is amongst us and potentially use him for our own gains, as he is aware that his position is compromised and that I know his true identity. So if needed, we can use him to either undermine that outpost or to further influence the development of Watchhold.
Very good. What else have you found?
Well, the next bit is a bit strange, so please bear with me. I know that you are not a fan of...
The ridiculous? The
Yes,
ridiculous notions that you come up with sometimes?
Correct, Mother. And recently my friends and I, my companions and I, liberated the fortress town or fortress island of
Fort Orange.
Fort Orange, as they were beset by some form of undead creatures. But beneath this place, we found two very interesting things. One is an aboleth by the name of Pax, who tried to make a deal with my companions and I for services rendered against, well, all deities and demigods and other forces that are trying to influence our world. I can give you more detailed information at another time, perhaps, if you are interested. And we also uncovered a portal into a strange realm that we ventured into. In this realm, and I give her a more accurate depiction of the realm, explaining the mirrors and everything.
Okay.
We were confronted by the image of none other than Edeah herself.
Indeed. And what cause have you to think that this is all true? And anything more than a figment of your imagination? You have a good imagination, Janjak.
Yes, I have been known to have one. However, it was also seen by others in my group, and the events have been universally the same. I have no reason to believe that this was only a figment of my own imagination. If it were, it would have been all of ours, but we have also seen one such portal here in Postizia. And it was unfortunately closed by Lady Edeah before I could investigate further.
Have you the means of opening another such portal?
Not at this time, I'm afraid, but I hope to find some.
No. Put it out of your mind. I will
Understood.
pass it on to one of your siblings. I want you focused on matters in Postizia. Things are becoming precarious, especially with the peace delegation coming up soon. Have you been in contact with your cousin? I understand he is also very active at the moment.
Yes, I have, and he has made your wishes clear to me. It will be taken care of. Atticus Hope will be kicked off the peace delegation following the Aquinical.
Excellent. Is there anything else you wish to tell me?
He kind of pauses for a moment. No, that will be it, Mother.
Good. Now, then I will update you on the matters that pertain to your missions. You will know, perhaps already, that there is unrest in the east. Ostrozia's court is in disarray, and there is rumor that there will be another heir of Ostraland. I want you to be very, very careful about this news. And if you find out anything more, especially in Postizia, where the heir is supposed to be now, do everything in your power to prevent their return. A powerful and united Ostrozia would be a thorn in our side, and they may just decide that they must grow big enough to oppose the Empire directly, rather than work with us. Keep them weak and on our side. Do you understand?
I understand, Mother.
Good. She thinks it over for a moment longer. That is all that you need to know. But I wish to ask. And you see a crack in her veneer that maybe has only happened 3 or 4 times in your entire life. But she turns and faces you directly. And she says, "Have you heard of Jean Gerard? Have you had any news? I sent him to Ulthas some months ago, and he has gone silent."
He looks at her and, well, I had kept this to myself for fear that it was too ephemeral. However, I do believe that the events that transpired in this other realm where I met Edeah herself are true, based on the accounts of my peers. And in there I did see Jean Gerard captured in a cell and dying.
There's no change in the expression on her face. She takes a moment to process the news, or the information that you've provided her. And she just looks you in the eye, and she says, "Please pass this along to your cousin, and make sure that he launches an inquiry. and impress upon him that if he cannot send someone, that I expect him to go himself and find out what happened. This will
Understood.
come before all other matters, if he cannot accomplish it at a distance. And I expect you to assist him, wherever possible, within reason. You have your missions.
Understood, madam.
Good.
I'm so sorry, but the door is...
That's
I
okay.
need to
Go ahead.
open it. Yeah.
All right. Whew. So yeah, that's Jean-Jacques' mother. Not necessarily the warmest person in the world. Holy cow! Thank you for the gifted sub, and for hanging out, all you guys. We will be going to our break soon, but I really want to get to Turnock real quick. So while Jean-Jacques and Nicolas are fetching food, Turnock, you make it to the Solidariat, or at least to the area around, right? So you make it into the first district. You see everywhere that, first of all, police presence is higher. So black hats are in every corner, and they're not, the usual black hats kind of lounging about or strolling from place to place. They're, in proper attire. They've got a weapon at their side, a dagger on the other side, and they've got a musket that leans against their shoulder, and they stand at attention in most of the streets. And as you get to the
used to that, to the presence of fire weapons, or am I like?
It is this kind of display is newer. It's not completely impossible. And you've seen them on several black hats before, but they're typically the heavy, heavy weapons that come out if there's real danger, or for purposes like this where it's ceremonial.
Okay.
But yeah, you make it to the Solidariat. This huge building. It stretches out like a good half a mile in one direction, and you see there that most of the activities around the actual front entrance, but mostly that's police and security setting up and getting ready for the night. You also see that down by the river, so there's a street that runs along the side all the way down to the river, and you'd see barges still coming in, delivering last-minute goods, and making sure that the event is properly supplied for the evening. So if you were to find a servant's entrance, it would likely have to be on the north side, it doesn't matter to you necessarily, but on the far side of the building from where you are, by the river. So when I assume you go and have a look, right?
Yes. And I didn't know if I don't know if I specified that before, but I didn't go for armor. Like I am casually, not formally at all dressed as well. Like I still need to get ready for the event if that's.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. So you're kind of in a relatively casual outfit, right? From what I gather.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, you can make your way down, and you catch some looks, just like everybody is catching looks going through these streets at this point. This is a very large thoroughfare, probably one of the largest streets in the city, as it runs along the front part of the most important building. And then you turn away to the left, and with the Solidariat kind of towering over you on the left side, you make your way down that street, and it starts to become quite claustrophobic when the rest of the buildings on the right side also rise up and start blocking your view of the sky for a large part. But here you indeed see several carriages lined up down the street close to the riverfront, and you see there several, like a pair of large wide open doors through which people are currently just carrying all sorts of stuff under the very watchful guard of several black hat police officers. And you also see two people in one gnome and one half elf in these very dark kind of brownish black robes, with similar hats to the black hats, like these sort of beret type things, but they have a streak of white across them. If you like, you can make a very quick history check to see if you can recognize those.
22.
All right. 22, you said. Yeah, so you're not familiar with them necessarily, but you've heard of these in the city of Postizia and in the Republic at large. These are thaumaturges, so they're magical security, basically. They are very proficient in, you know, sniffing out anything magical, slipping by them and stuff like that. But yeah, police officers at the doors, servants going in and out from the carriages, and towards the barges as well. How do you approach the situation?
I was thinking, like, since the time that you said I needed to have a good story behind it, I was kind of trying to find something that was good enough, but it's being super hard.
I getcha.
What's Kao's first name again?
So his full name, let me drag him out onto the map for you so you can just read the whole thing. Wait, he's here. Cornerian.
Wait, I was not, okay, Cornerian. Okay, so, yes, I approach the guards, and I say, and they are guarding the entrance to the building, right? That's,
yeah.
Okay, so I approach the guards and I say, hello, good afternoon, gentlemen. I'm looking for Mr. Cornerian in the kitchen staff.
Right, what's your business here then?
Oh no, you know, I'm a long-time friend, and I heard that he was working here tonight, and I just
Yeah,
wanted
okay,
to-
I don't care. You need me to get your friend?
Oh yeah, sure.
He grabs one of the servants that's coming out, like this. You're probably talking to quite a large half orc, and he just grabs one of the smaller people coming out, just drags them close. Says, "There a Canarian in there?" The person just like, "Yeah." Go get him, and he just pushes them back inside. Very gruff and very much not up for business.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah. Move back 15 paces and wait.
Yeah, with I almost joke around, you know, put my hands up and shit, and just start walking.
Yeah. He actually has one eye following you until you're standing there, but very quickly his attention shifts back to the stream of goods and things flowing in and out of the place. And it takes a good 15 minutes actually before the same person emerges and goes back to work, but Canarian comes after, and you can see him. He looks so different from usual. Like he looks he's a little hunched over. He's got a little bit of a limp as he walks. He's got like proper chef's attire on. He's got the hat on. He's got an eye patch over his bad eye, and he just kind of comes shuffling forward. And you overhear him asking the guard, like, excuse me, somebody asked for me. And the guard just points him in your direction, and he comes shuffling over, and he's just like, oh, hello. And he kind of gestures you along to come with a bit further away. And when you're about 30 or 40 feet away, he just kind of stands there shivering a little bit. You can see the performance is quite real, but you can see his eye is very much alert, and he looks at you. What's going on? Something wrong?
Yes, I'm sorry to disturb this beautiful performance. You're
Okay,
putting
this
on.
is not the time for mockery, Tarnok.
Okay. How well do you know this place? I need to get a harbor sack in for the event tonight. I was wondering you might be able to help me.
He looks over his shoulder. How big is it? Is it the one that you carry? The one that your group usually has?
Yes, that one.
He looks over his shoulder again, like this very, very kind of tense thing, and he looks back at you. I can carry it in. I can get it carried inside, as long as you manage to slip it on board one of the carriages or barges. Okay.
When do you think that the barges leave? Because how before
I mean,
should I be here?
with the amount of supplies being brought in, I think that you have about an hour left before the last is in and these doors close.
I'll run back then, and meet me here, exactly here in 45 minutes.
No, I won't be. I can tell someone to pick up the haversack,
Okay.
but it's up to you to slip them in. If they see me again, my cover will get blown. But where do you want me to leave it for you inside? By the way, just for reference, Because previously, last week, I wasn't able to provide you with the handout that has the map on it. You do have the handout now, so feel free to look at it and tell me where you guys want it to be deposited.
Solitary. Okay,
Yes, and it has, I think, numbers or markings for most of the locations.
And where am I right now?
You are currently in the northeast, so just looking at this map, in the top right corner. Basically at the roughly by the number 11.
Roughly by the okay.
Yeah, let me actually switch this over to battle map and display the thing for everyone real quick. So can I, no, like so. Yes.
I still see the Stormcrow Tavern on Roll20. That's normal, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
So we transition here and then do a quick interact.
This is a really hard question, Kevin.
I know. Okay. That's a bit too big, I would say. Oh, it doesn't enlarge, really? Okay, let me make this a bit smaller then, so it's actually viewable. But yeah, here's my crazy map. You guys won't be able to read all the markings, but here is the Solidariat in all its glory.
So I don't want him to carry it too long. Where would he would get in through 11?
Yeah, he would get it in through 11, and if you ask him, he will tell you that they have set up the, quote-unquote kitchens, because there's no kitchens to serve a festival this large. They've set up the kitchens in the Novidian court. So that would be where it would naturally go, but once it's there, I mean, he could slip by and get it to most locations there right now. It would just be difficult to do it further away, because the further away, the longer he has to travel to get there. But, he's a very capable type, so...
Yo, isn't this a good time for us to take our break?
Yeah, actually, that's a really good point. So, let me just really quickly then shift back. Jean-Jacques, you're here?
I am,
I
yes.
don't have people set up correctly on this overlay, I just realized. But regardless, you can be Tani for the moment.
Jacques.
Was
I'm a spy for the Republic.
Was there anything that you wanted to say to your mother? Well, to Jean-Jacques' mother. I apologize.
To mine? No,
I mean, I can give her a call for you if you like, but
Yeah,
to Jean-Jacques' mother.
I don't... No.
Okay.
No.
All right. Then
Just,
go
I
ahead.
will do what is necessary.
As is expected, Jean-Jacques. I wish you well. And she gets up and she steps away, and you see somebody else a moment later step into view and start disconnecting the echo chamber on her side. All right. Then with that, let's indeed go over to our break.